I walked up the long stairs to the food shrine. At the top, I saw some elderly men smoking in front of the hall. Since they had a minor fire a long time ago, it had been made into a non-smoking area. Fire. The head of the Kimiyoshi family, Uncle Kimiyoshi, noticed me and waved. Hello there, Kiichiro. He must not have expected Mion to come alone. Normally, it would have been either the hag by herself or Mion tagging along as an assistant. Yeah.
バッチャは夕べのあれ以来機嫌を相当悪くしちゃいまして、誰も近づけず布団にこもりきりです。
Dion understood how troublesome she was when in a bad mood. They smiled bitterly in sympathy. Yeah, well, that was easy.
じゃあ今日はミオンちゃんが園崎家当主代行ということでいいね。お嬢さんから話とか聞いてる？
一応。
What did he mean, has Oryo-san told you anything? That line by itself didn't really explain much. The thing is, though, I guess it kind of depends on Mion's involvement in all of this, like, any of the secrets that they have that we don't know. Like, obviously they're gonna tell everything to Oryo, but would they be able to tell everything to Mion to send it as a message to Oryo? Unless, I don't know, they were to write like a note and put it in like an envelope and have Mion send it to Oryo to read everything without allowing Mion to, quote-unquote Mion, to read in it. But other than that, I hope that quote-unquote Mion right over here is going to be able to learn the same stuff that Oryo would usually learn during this. That she has like that she has the power to learn this stuff, and they're not gonna keep it hush hush in front of Mion. The staff meeting was usually led by the mayor, the head of the Kimiyoshi family, and he asked me, as the substitute of the Sonozaki family head, if I'd heard anything from her. I then realized who was supposed to lead today's staff meeting.
おじじゃなくて、君吉さん、今日の会合だけど、司会私じゃないと。
According to the ranking order at the family councils, any substitute for the Sonozaki family head is above the Kimiyoshi family head. Okay. In other words, I'd have to lead today's meeting. That's gonna be a problem. Like, I assume that, hey, maybe we would have, like, Kimiyoshi, and that's it. I was thinking of Ariakey, but, well, she might know a lot, actually, now that I think about it. I mean, she is gonna be one of Shion's targets, so one is to assume that Ariakey knows what's behind the scenes, like, here anyway, so. But it is kind of interesting to see Ariakey in this kind of environment. Like, yeah, we've seen in chapter 4 where she was at a meeting and she was basically doodling while the rest of the adults were talking, and like listening in on the conversation and learning some stuff. But I wonder right now how it's gonna be. Is she gonna be just as uninterested and she's gonna stay there, or she's actually gonna have some stuff to say about this stuff? That's actually something that interests me. Like, this is gonna be the first time that I'm gonna see Ariakey in this kind of environment, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how she's gonna do in this, and if we're gonna be able to learn something from her as well. There was no way I could do that.
大丈夫大丈夫。おじいちゃんがやるから。ミオンちゃんは座ってればいいよ。お嬢さんから聞いてる話があったら話してくれればいいからね。
村長、そろそろ始めますかいね。全員揃いましたね。
Alright. The smokers put out their cigarettes and went back into the hall. The tables were set in a horseshoe shape, and I was told to sit next to a chair reserved for a chief. The seat opposite mine was empty. Considering its occasion, it was probably for the Furuta family head, Rika Furuta. But somebody had said earlier that everybody was already here. Either Rika-chama called in absent or the empty seat was just for formality. Ah, damn it. I'm not gonna see my little baby Rika? God damn it. Alright, well, never mind. Knowing the subject of this meeting, I don't think that the Furuta family head would even want to attend. Even if Rika-chama actually attended, she wouldn't be able to say anything. I guess. All she'd usually do at the Sons Like Family Councils was draw pictures on a notepad. Yeah, she'll probably end up drawing pictures in this meeting too. Maybe. Besides, they probably didn't want her to hear anything unpleasant. In this way, the empty Furuta family seat was easily explained. When everyone was seated, the head of the Women's Association served tea. She gave me an evil look, trying to tell me to help out. I got up and did so. Okay. Sure. Give me the evil look, I guess. After that, everyone fell quiet, and the secretary stood up.
それでは皆さん、本日は大変お忙しい中、緊急にお集まりいただきまして、誠にお疲れ様です。それでははじめに、村長さんからご挨拶をいただきます。村長、どうぞ。
座ったままで失礼します。ケンちゃんも座ったままでいいよ。今日は平日の夕方にお集まりいただきまして、誠にありがとうございました。また昨日は綿流しを本当にお疲れ様でございました。おかげさまで本年も事故もなく大変な盛況のうちに終了させることができました。祭りにも村中から大勢がいらっしゃり、本当に素晴らしい祭りになったものと思うとります。来たの何人だっけ？大本営発表だと5000人だそうです。
Everyone left, except me.
今後もますますの文化の向上のために一丸となって頑張ってまいりたいと思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
Clap, 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 clap. An applause with only 8 people doesn't sound so great.
それでは引き続き、議事の方に入ってまいりたいと思います。本日の議事を、君吉村長さんにお願いしようと思います。承認していただける方は、拍手でご承認願います。
Clap, 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 clap.
ありがとうございます。それではただいま、万座でのご承認をいただきましたんで、君吉村長さんに司会を譲りたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。
どうもケンちゃんお疲れ様。では司会を引き継ぎましたので、申し訳ない。カーテン閉めましょうかね。
Everyone closed the curtains nearest to them. The sun was still up. With all the curtains closed, the room became very dark. Ooh, making some atmosphere here. The village chief explained the details of the incident, as well as what went on with the police. A police vehicle discovered Tomitake's body on its way back to Okinomiya last night. Okay. Oishi's special curse unit was standing by, expecting something to happen for the 5th time, so they responded quickly. Since Tomitake's-san and Takano-san were rarely apart, Oishi got in touch with the neighboring prefecture police departments and asked them to look for her. As a result, they found a burned body of a woman in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture. and the body was then identified as Mio Takano. Considering the circumstances, the police ended up labeling the incident as the fifth of the ongoing series of mysterious deaths. When he finished, there was dead silence. I rushed to see who would speak first. Nobody said a thing. Then, I noticed Kimiyoshi looking at me. Ah. And this was where the head of the Sonozaki family would speak.
ミオンちゃん、お嬢さんは何か言ってたかい?
Everyone looked in my direction. I was sure they could see the hag in me.
園崎家当主代行、園崎ミオンです。本日は当主お寮に代わりまして、出席させていただきました。よろしくお願いいたします。
I became Mion. I tried to become as cold and unfitting as the Mion I witnessed a year ago. That cold version of Mion was inside of me. That was me. I was her.
不幸にして、お社様のお怒りは5年目にも下されることになりました。大変悲しいことです。
Everyone was held captive by my words. I wasn't a little girl anymore. The hag was speaking through my mouth. They all heard me and trembled in fear.
どうして今年もたたりがあったか、わかる方はいますか?
After my question, everyone whispered to each other. Okay. Let's see.
そう。西宮殿の金を犯し、土足で聖域を踏み荒らして汚れを持ち込んだからです。
何いうことだ!
A few elderly men got up and yelled.
あ、ほんたれが信じられん小僧どもだ。腹渡引き裂いても飽きたりんガキ友じゃん。お社様、お怒りをお鎮めください。なんてこと、なんてこと。
Okay, well, those are the reactions of the old people that are truly believing in Oyashiro, so... I don't think that we can get anything out of this, to be quite honest. At least about those old people.
お社様、お社様。これだからよそ者すっかん。なんも考えんねえ。ガクガクもないんよ。さらんと。あれすってらんこったになるね。バチ当たりどもんが。
Jobs! The angry old man yelled even as they trembled in fear. Their sudden change scared me more than a little. Even Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was usually so gentle and sweet, became like a demon of war, cursing those who broke the rule of the ritual storehouse. Okay, even Kimiyoshi. Yeah, I become like a raging ocean inside the assembly hall. Their yells spun about like a whirlpool. They roared, crashed, and howled. Even while doing nothing but watch, I could feel myself turning pale. You know, this reminds me of chapter 4 when we heard about the meeting and all that, and we had that talk about the person in power, like a.k.a. the Sonozakis, who wouldn't tell everything to the others, not even Kimiyoshi. Like, I think at some point I was thinking that not even Kimiyoshi knew like everything, that he was in the dark when it comes to some sort of stuff. So it can very well be possible that Kiichiro doesn't know much about what is going on either. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, judging by the reaction right over here of like thinking about the curse and raging, oh my god, they massacred, like they desecrated Oyashiro's place. They must be punished and all that. So, I don't know. Maybe... Mion threatened me yesterday, and Kasai had been shocked this morning. What I saw before me was similar to that. Even the sweet and gentle Kimiyoshi was saying they deserved to die. I was fearful of the sudden change in those elderly men. Like, it's not as if Kimiyoshi, like Kiichiro, was staying in silence over there, as if he knows that it is more than just the curse of Oyashi, the curse of Kimiyoshi, the curse of Oyashiro. Like, you would think that maybe he is staying there in silence at the words that Mion just spoke right now about them entering the ritual storehouse, and he would just stay silent, knowing in the back of his mind that, oh, it's because of that curse unit, for example, who killed Takano or Tomitake. Thus, he wouldn't react the same way as the other elders, or that he knows what happened with the previous years or anything like that, but no. Him reacting in the same way as other people makes him feel like he truly believes in the curse, and there's not much to be discussed over here. But I'm not gonna throw the towel yet. Maybe he does know something. Let's see. More than anything, the fact that they all believe that those people deserve to die for trespassing is what terrified me. It wasn't just that, of course. The real thing I was scared of was that I was one of the people they wanted dead. In other words, it was almost like they were telling me to die of the curse. If they were to find out I snuck into the ritual storehouse, it was very possible that they would strangle me on the spot. Actually, they might not kill me that easily. By then, I was certain the people in this room were true believers in Oyashiro-sama, just like the hack. They wouldn't hesitate to murder whoever made Oyashiro-sama angry on his behalf. That is true. That is a good point. Even if they didn't carry out the killings themselves, they would pretend they didn't see anything. Yes, not even if my head was cut off right in front of them. Everyone here would act in collusion, say I never attended today. If they all testified that they wanted the waiter and didn't show, I'd be demoned away. It would be far too easy for them to erase someone and have them disappear. There was no mistake. The people linking the hack and curse were definitely here at this meeting. I continued speaking. I was Mion Sonozaki. I was on the side responsible for the curse. Therefore, at that moment, I didn't need to worry about anything. Nobody could tell the difference between Mion and me. And that's what would keep me safe.
お静かにお願いします。
Dot.
おら、静かに静かに。
Uncle Kimiyoshi helped me to quiet everyone, but his tone was violent. He really scared me. Everyone gradually became silent.
西宮殿に忍び込んだ賊は4人。あと2人います。
People once more became restless upon hearing that. But Uncle Kimiyoshi yelled at them again, and they settled down.
富武さんと高野さんは分別のつくお年だったはずですからね。お社様のたたりが直ちに下りましたが、もう2人は子供です。まだたたりは免れていますが、何のけじめもなく許されることはありません。
Okay. Like, softening the blow for at least Shion, instead of death or demon away, maybe we can go with a little bit of a punishment? 5 nails that should be stripped from the fingers? Everyone stayed quiet that time. They had all turned genuinely pale, trying not to miss a word I said. After all, they were all thinking that the kids I mentioned could be their own relatives, or even grandchildren. They wanted to know who they were, to put their minds at ease.
その2人の狼藉者は、園崎紫音、そして前原圭一。
I could feel the air getting drier. It was so dry I almost felt like it was going to start making a crackling noise.
園崎シオンはすでに
I couldn't even hear the old people breathe. I took a peek at Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was sitting next to me. He had adored Shion as if she were his own granddaughter, but she had been demoned away. I wanted to see how distressed and sad he'd look, and when I saw his face, I felt a sensation on my back, as if my skin itself was making a cracking noise. He didn't even have an expression on his face. Uncle Kimiyoshi adored me. I loved him and I thought he had loved me too. That was why I expected him to be sad after learning that I met with such a cruel fate. What was I thinking? The memory of his warm smile shattered inside of me. There was no way of describing the fear I experienced at the moment in mere words. He had suddenly changed into someone I didn't even recognize. Uncle Kimiyoshi noticed me looking at him and spoke.
もう一人の前原圭一は
まだです。
I had to take a deep breath to regain my composure. Well, that surely adds to Kiichiro's eventual death.
西宮殿を犯した4人、すべてにお社様はたたりを下されるでしょう。前原圭一も例外ではありませんよ。
Chilling looks, cruel looks, emotionless looks, shrewd looks, and the looks of people who are about to snap. I could feel the demons chewing my words while they stared at me with their sharp eyes. I could see some of them sticking their snake-like tongues in and out. Okay, I feel like at this point we're delving into the demon vision right over here. Shion is becoming extremely stressed, and this could be the effects of the quote-unquote curse, a.k.a. the illness that is affecting her mind, that makes her see things that are not actually real. It's because of the stress that she's seeing things differently. So with that being said, who knows, maybe in reality Kimiyoshi did look really sad. It's just that instead Shion is seeing a very emotionless face on Kimiyoshi. I could see flames in some of their eyes. They were memorizing the names of the intruder the curse had yet to fall upon. And so, the meeting went on. We were told not to tell the police too much, to report what they asked us, and to hold another meeting whenever something of significance happened. If something unexpected took place, we were to get in touch with either the head of the Kimiyoshi family or the head of the Sasaki family for instructions on what to do. You know, as I go through this adventure, ever since we have begun this by meeting our lovely friends, the kids, Keiichi, Rena, Mion, Shion, Rika, Satoko. Ever since the first days up until now, seeing the events happen through their lenses, like Keiichi and now Shion, seeing the disturbed moments going on right over here, and meanwhile while I am trying to solve this mystery, while these kids are going insane, it almost feels as if I'm going insane. Here I am trying to solve a case, and then there are these kinds of random moments where It feels as if I'm going insane. Trying to piece things together, but now with these visions of demons, like, blocking my way towards figuring out what is going on. Like, it's as if imagining Hercule Poirot in one of his murder mystery stories, like solving like his usual cases here and there, being the awesome man that he is. But suddenly midway through, he has these visions that are making him solving the mysteries more and more difficult. These demonic visions that make him question, like, if this clue or these events that he sees with his own eyes are true or not, making it difficult for him to solve this. Same is happening for me. With those closing remarks, the meeting was over. It was already getting dark outside. Being in a valley surrounded by mountains, once the sun went down in Hinamizawa, it got dark quickly. Even if it was hot during the day, it would cool down quickly at night. The elderly people said goodbye to each other and left on their bicycles, on their motorcycles, or in their cars. Uncle Kimiyoshi waved them goodbye and started to head home himself. Alright, here's our next victim, like, right in front of us. Starting to head home. What you gonna do, Shion? What's your plan for this particular one? I called out to him.
君吉さん、この後ご予定はありますか?
I called him Kimiyoshi-san instead of Uncle Kimiyoshi. He stopped.
いや、何もないよ。
うちへ寄ってもらえませんか?
お嬢さんが呼んでるのかい?
はい。直接会って話したいことがあるんだとか。
じゃあ、やるかな。
Alright, well, that was easy. Uncle Kimiyoshi arrived at the Sonozaki house. He often came to the house to have secret meetings with Hag, so he wasn't suspicious at all. I invited Uncle Kimiyoshi into the living room. I served him a cup of tea and told him I was going to fetch the Hag. I left the room and killed some time down the hallway.
ばっちゃ、着替えたから来るそうです。ちょっと時間かかるかもです。
いやいや、ゆっくり待ってるから。
Uncle Kimiyoshi relaxed as he sipped his cup of tea. I sat next to him.
多分、シオンの話じゃないかなと思います。
I mentioned my name and watched for his reaction. Uncle Kimiyoshi looked so grim. I couldn't even tell if he heard me. I decided to continue speaking until he reacted in some way.
シオンは去年がありますからね。北条家の人間なんかと懇意になるなんて。
去年は、爪を剥いで許してもらったんだったね。
ええ、3枚剥いで。
Uncle Kimiyoshi folded his arms and thought for a while.
シオンちゃんは今は
地下にいます。
様子はどうなんだい?
Uncle Kimiyoshi sounded worried. When I heard that, I felt relieved that Uncle Kimiyoshi was on my side. His anger in the assembly hall was just an act.
ずっと泣いていますよ。
ミオンちゃん、率直なところ、お嬢さんはシオンちゃんのことをどうするって言ってるんだ?
具体的なことは聞いてません。ご存知と思いますけど、バッチャは怒りが度を超えると逆に無口になりますからね。
西宮殿に入ったんだもんな。しかも自分とこの身内がな。そりゃそうだろうな。
Uncle Kimiyoshi thought that the hag must be unsure of what to do with Shion.
おじいちゃんはシオンの処遇どうなると思います？
そりゃ爪3枚よりもっとむごいことになるだろうな。お嬢さんのことだから身内に甘くするってことはないと思う。むしろ身内だからこそ厳しく当たるだろうからな。
何しろ西宮殿に入ったんですものね。それは許されないことでしょうね。
さすがにな。西宮殿はな。
でもシオンもかわいそうかもしれません。だってずっとHinamizawaから遠ざけられてきたんです。西宮殿の不可侵性は知ってはいたでしょうが、そこまでいけないことだという認識は多分なかったんでしょうから。
確かにシオンちゃんは不憫だよな。
私かシオンか、背中の入れ墨を見る以外に私たちをどんな方法で区別できるというのですか？何もない。ミオンとシオンなんて区別自体が何の意味もないのに。
Twins are proof of bad luck. One should be eliminated as soon as they are born. Such is the family precept. The hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I came out of the womb. That's how the story went, at least. In the end, the hag didn't kill me, but instead pretended I didn't exist. She forced herself to call one of us Mion and the other Shion. She adored Mion and hated Shion. My sister and I never understood why we had to go through that. We didn't care who was Mion or Shion. So one day, we came up with an idea. We decided to share the joy Mion experienced and the sadness Shion experienced. We often switched places. We were both Mion, and at the same time, we were both Shion. Adults around us tried to put different clothes on us or style our hair differently so they could tell us apart. That was nonsense. No matter what they did to us, all we had to do was switch places, and nobody could tell us apart. Finally, they decided that we switched places because we were always together. One that day, Shion got to an amusement park. Since then, we've been separated.
ミオンちゃん。
私にはシオンがどういう処遇になるか想像もつきません。
Wait a minute, hold on. On that day, Shion got to go to an amusement park. So she is talking about the other person that she refers to as Shion. Quite an interesting thing to say, like quite an interesting sentence, talking in third person, where you yourself are Shion, but you're disguising yourself as Mion. We are talking about that other person who should be Mion, but in actuality you're calling her Shion. Could it be true? Like what I thought of before? I think it was during the investigation video. Like I was confused about the whole prisoning thing at the end of chapter 2. So I was thinking maybe truly the Mion that we've always known in the earlier chapters, her true name is actually Shion. Like originally. It's just that they switched names permanently. This person right over here, her true name originally was Mion. It's just that they switched places permanently. So now it's Shion.
そしてどんなことに決まっても意見できる立場にありません。バッチャは身内であればむしろ意見を聞かない人ですし、
そうだな。お嬢さんの悪いところだよ。
シオンは園崎シオンでなければとっくに殺されていたことでしょう。死に準ずる罰が果たしてどのようなものか、私には想像もつきません。殺されなかったにしたって多分一生日の光を見ることはできないでしょう。つまりは鬼隠しということかと。
ミオンちゃん、シオンちゃんは反省してるんだろ？
ええ。
In response, Uncle Kimiyoshi tapped my shoulder, and I slapped his own chest. He smiled reliably.
大丈夫。シオンちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら、鬼隠しなんかなるもんか。君吉のおじいちゃんに任せなさい。
本当に大丈夫なんですか？
そりゃあお嬢さんは私に意見されたら怒りはするだろうけどさ。でもおじいちゃんは引かないよ。シオンちゃんがしっかり反省してるんだから、許してあげてほしいってちゃんと頼んでみせるから。
Tears began to fall from my eyes. Oh, there's that sweet uncle that me girls have been talking about since childhood. That he was very sweet to both of you. Same case here. I knew it. Uncle Kimiyoshi was my ally after all. He said he would forgive Shion. He was my ally. I was so very happy.
本当に去年の北条聡くんみたいに鬼隠しになっちゃったりしないでしょうか？
Uncle Kimiyoshi smiled reliably again and told me.
罰当たりの北条家の坊主ならいざ知れず、園崎家のシオンちゃんならきっと許してもらえるって。
Uh-oh. Oh boy, and then the music stopped. It's all going downhill from now on. You called Satoshi a brat. There is no forgiveness. It's time for you to die. Huh?
北条家の坊主って聡くんのことですか？去年の犠牲者の。
北条の連中は仕方ないさ。村を丸ごと売ろうとした売国と同然のやつらだ。そういうやつらなら鬼隠しだってありえるだろうけど、そりゃあ北条家だからの話だよ。
So I guess being nice is only reserved to the Sonozakis, eh? I guess Satoshi, even though he had nothing to do with the protest, in your eyes, he still deserves it, in your eyes.
北条家の連中は一族老頭みんな呪われて当然だ。鬼隠しに会うのはそういう連中なんだから。だからシオンちゃんは大丈夫。大丈夫なんだよ。
おじいちゃん。でも聡くんは去年シオンがけじめをつけたから見逃してもらえることになったんじゃないの？
けじめ？何の？
ほら、爪を3枚剥いだじゃないですか。葛西さん、吉郎おじさん、それから聡くんで3人分。3枚。
3枚ってそういう意味だったのかい？
Huh? What?
3枚はそういう意味じゃなかったんですか？
いや、合ってるよ。関わった人間が3人だから3枚の爪でけじめとしたんだよ。そう私も聞いてるよ。でも葛西さん、吉郎さん、それからシオンちゃんで3枚だと聞いてたよ。
What? Eh? What? Huh? Eh? What? I endured excruciating pain. The first one was my left pinky, then the ring finger, and then the middle finger. People held me down so I couldn't move, but I endured. I had to endure 3 nails. I didn't know which nail was for Satoshi-kun. If my middle finger was for Satoshi-kun, I'd have to endure until the middle finger was done so that Satoshi-kun would be forgiven. That was why I endured. Even Mion said afterwards, everything was forgiven. Huh? 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 Mion, didn't you say Satoshi-kun was forgiven? Didn't you? Oh, I guess to give my 2 cents in this, maybe Uncle Kimiyoshi himself was not informed about this and made an assumption that it was involving Shion, when in actuality you and the rest were forgiving Satoshi and you were not included. Yeah, you know, it's not like I know the rules of torture when it comes to this sort of stuff in the Sonozaki family. Like, I don't know. Like, are you supposed to, like, remove your fingers for the forgiveness of others? Or are you yourself included as well? I don't know. It's not like I was ever given, like, a Sonozaki torture rulebook myself. I never went to class for that one. And that's what I heard. I think that's what I heard. Or did I? Eh? Eh? Huh? I felt the air move. There shouldn't have been a breeze in that room, but I felt it anyway. The cool air stroked the back of my neck. And that was when my true self stood right behind me and nodded. Although there was no wind, my hair billowed. The burning wickedness buried deep inside my eyes became visible.
どうして北条聡君は鬼隠しにあったのでしょう。
え？
聡君のご両親は確かに村を売ろうとしました。お社様のたたりがあったのは当然です。でも聡君はその両親の子供であっただけ。
Okay. A good thing to say. Let's see what his reaction is going to be.
その聡君にどんな罪が？
ミオンちゃん？
聡君にどんな罪があったのかと尋ねています。あなたはさっき、罰当たりな北条家の坊主なら鬼隠しにあっても当然と言いました。鬼隠しにあっても当然な、どんな罪があったのかと聞いているのです。
Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say to the sudden question. He seemed dismayed.
聞かずともわかります。園崎お涼が決めたのです。お社様のたたりが及ぶのは、北条の姓を持つすべての人間と決めたから。
待ってミオンちゃん。別にそういうことが決まってるわけじゃない。
決めたわけではないのですか？
そうだよ。そんな北条家にはお社様のたたりがいずれ下る。そういう話をおぼろげにしたことはあっても、そんなにはっきりとしたことを言及したことは一度もないし、誰もしてないよ。
ではさっきあなたが口にした北条の坊主ならいざ知れずという言葉は何を根拠に出たものなのですか？
ごめんよミオンちゃん。あれは言い過ぎたよ。謝る。
そういうことです。北条家なら何があってもたたり。北条の名を冠していればどうなろうが知ったことではないという、そういう考えが蔓延していることが問題なのです。聡君に罪があろうがなかろうが、 北条という姓があればそれで汚らわしい。そういう考えが蔓延していることが問題なのです。そしてあなたはその蔓延でいぶされた汚れた思考に汚染された迷信盲信。許せない、お前のような存在が許せない。お前のような奴がサトシ君たち一家を追い詰めてあんなにもすり減らして。サトシ君がかわいそう、本当にかわいそう。彼が何をしたの？何もしてない、何もやってない。ただ北条であっただけ。それにどんな罪が罰がたたりが呪いがどうして降りかからねばならなかったのか。一体サトシ君に何の罪があったというのか。
Ugh! Kimiyoshi's upper body bent backward and fell onto the floor. And that was that. I put my stun gun back in my pocket.
ごめん、シオン。今、なんて言った？
ゆうべ、高野さんと富武さんが死んだんだそうです。高野さんは焼死体で、富武さんは自殺みたいな感じで。今朝知ったんです。お父さんが親類の人からの電話で話してるのを聞いて。
As I thought, Keiichi didn't know anything about what happened after the festival last night.
マスコミに報道されないのは当然なんです。過去にそうだったから。
Keiichi insisted that unless he heard about it on the news, it couldn't be real. But investigations into the series of mysterious deaths are done in secret now. Of course, he didn't hear about it on the news.
村長とか、あと園崎家出身の金バッジが警察に思いっきり圧力をかけたんだって聞いてます。
じゃあ、つまり、二人の死は秘密裏に処理されてしまったということか。
そういうことです。もちろん警察は捜査をしてますよ。でも秘匿捜査ということなので、捜査活動にはかなりの制限が加えられているそうです。これは事実上の捜査妨害と言えるでしょうね。
信じられない。人が死んだのに、それが公にされず、ひそやかに処理されるなんて。
もっと噛み砕いて言うと、綿流しの夜に誰が死んでも公にはならないということです。
そんなバカな話があってたまるか。
ケイちゃん、私以前にお社様のたたりは村人が起こしてるかもしれないって言いましたよね。つまりそういうことなんです。このhinamizawa沢では毎年綿流しの夜にお社様のたたりということにして誰かを殺してもいい土壌がいつの間にか作り上げられているんです。
Yes, that's the truth about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. On the day of Watanagashi, 2 people would be killed. The perpetrators are using the curse of Oyashiro-sama as an excuse to kill one victim and make another disappear. That's why the curse of Oyashiro-sama takes place. That's what happens in Hinamizawa, and that's what happens with a curse. What Kimiyoshi said is all true. In fact, everyone with the idea that the enemy from the Dan conflict deserved to die was the root of all this. That was the system of fake commands used in the Sonozaki family, created by its head, Oryo. One thing that must be mentioned about that command system is that the person giving the orders and the one executing them didn't need to interact in any way. Though Oryo was the commander, she never gave actual orders. She only had to expect something to happen. Every single one of the family council members around her would want to satisfy that expectation if given the chance. They didn't have to be proactive about satisfying it. They could be passive too. But when the chance arose, anyone who knew Orio's intentions could potentially become the one to execute her orders. Therefore, Oreo would never know who actually executed her order, and none of their relatives knew it either. But they all knew things would conclude just as Oreo wanted, and they could assume it was one of their own who did it for her. This passive support system was thoroughly effective, and it spread all over the village. its ties became even tighter after the Dan conflict. Anyone could be the one to execute Orio's orders. Therefore, everyone supported each other. If someone did something, then the others would try to satisfy Orio's expectation in different ways. For example, they come up with false evidence or otherwise passively interfere with an investigation. Even if they didn't know exactly who they were protecting, they'd still work together to protect whoever it was. The whole thing about protecting the perpetrator, it is quite an interesting idea that even I thought of. It's just that it didn't necessarily have to do with the Sonozakis. It's more so that maybe Keiichi's friends were trying to protect him when he was hiding Teppei's murder, for example. Yes, I finally figured out how it all worked. Phrased in a more organized manner, it would go as follows. The system of killing 2 people who are unwanted by the village each year required 3 elements. The first element was a region of solidarity. It was created during the long and unique history of Hinamizawa. The villagers' bonds became even tighter during the Dan conflict. That was one of the conditions for this place to have a curse. It was an element that was already in the region, not one that could be created. The next element was having the same moral standards. This was a very important element, as the curse wouldn't have happened without it. Also, this element was created by Orio Sonozaki herself, and that was why she could claim that this system was established by her own will. Having the same moral standards means that everyone everywhere acknowledges the same enemy. Even when everyone in the village joined together, it would be meaningless if they all didn't know exactly who the enemy was. During the Dan conflict, Orio Sonozaki made the identity of the enemy very clear to everyone. They couldn't just say that they were against the Dan construction, and that the government was their enemy. That wasn't clear enough. The government didn't really pinpoint who the enemy was, but Orio made enemies out of the construction site itself, and therefore its manager. She chose targets that the villagers could see with their own eyes. They were clear and easy to understand. The villagers acknowledged that everyone at the Dan construction site was their enemy, and that construction site manager was the enemy commander. Using the same method, she labeled one after another as an enemy of the village, practically cataloging a list of enemies to print into the villagers' minds. Earlier, I had used the term infecting for this phenomenon. Those infected by this idea were the people unconsciously giving orders to commit murder. When the infection spread across the village, when all Hinamizawa's residents acknowledged the same enemy, that's when Hinamizawa itself became a murderer. Orio combined those 2 elements, a solidarity region and having the same moral standards. Then select the enemy and spread that notion throughout the village. The law would normally have punished both the one who committed the crime and the one who gave the order. But Orio's system didn't require an order at all. Orio just had to become concerned about the enemy she had pre-selected, but that alone wouldn't cause the curse to take effect. Orio's concern was like a safety device, and even when the safety device was off, the curse wouldn't occur unless there was a finger to pull the trigger. The last necessary element was to set a date for execution. The night of Watanagashi. The night to venerate Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. On that night, the curse of Oyashiro-sama falls upon 2 enemies of the village, and they disappear. Everyone in the village acknowledged that as fact. In other words, if the same incident took place on any of the other 364 nights of the year, it would be nothing other than a murder case. But if it happened on the night of Watanagashi, then it would transform into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The idea that villagers are allowed to kill their enemies on the night of Watanagashi had infected them. The villagers were the cells of this huge creature called Hinamizawa, and each cell would be taught who the enemy was. The said date was basically a green light for whoever it was in the best position to kill the enemy. That was the truth of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Quite an interesting way of putting it. So basically, even if like it wasn't directly Oreo who pulled the trigger, hey, this person should die, the village itself would know when, who, and their own way of doing it based on the golden opportunity, without even talking between each other too much. They knew that once it was witnessed by somebody, the closest to that cursed person would have to do the deed. And Oreo doesn't even know the full details. She just knows that it happened. Therefore, the one who actually killed Satoshi-kun isn't my enemy. I mean, of course, there's, like, in Shion's eyes, it is Oreo and the Sonozakis who planted this in the first place. The one who set up this murder system and the one who named Satoshi-kun's family as the enemy is my enemy. To use a broader definition, Hinamizawa itself and the very system of Oyashiro-sama's curse is my enemy. I already killed the hack, the one who designed the system. Kimiyoshi, the one whose job it was to infect the villagers with the system, was already in my hands. I just had to find out who else was involved, and how much. It was like putting a weed while being very careful not to break its roots. I announced that Keiichi Maebara was one of the people who snuck into the shrine storage. I was certain that fact had already spread throughout the other side of the village. Hell, you just said it like at the assembly hall. In other words, Keiichi Maebara was an object of the curse of Oyashiro-sama now. Takano-san and Tomitake-san were found dead, having been killed in gruesome ways. That was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. In that case, they could demon away 2 more people as sacrifices to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. The set date for the curse was already over. But just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, demoning away was allowed a little extra time. Something would happen to Keiichi Maebara within a few days. I'd wait patiently, careful not to let the enemy simply take Keiichi Maebara, my bait. Keiichi had been yelling on the other end of the phone for some time. He kept yelling that he didn't want to go into the ritual storehouse to begin with. He claimed he was simply invited by Takano-san and me. He shouldn't be in danger because of that, he said. He was feeling a sense of crisis and tension. And this was going to work. The livelier the bait, the easier it is to spot.
どうしてくれるんだよ。俺は全然関係ないんだぞ。どうすんだよ。どうすんだよ。どうやって責任を取ってくれるんだよ。おい、聞いて。
Shut up. I've heard enough of your pitiful tears. I hung up the phone. There was no point in talking to him when he got like that. Besides, I'd already achieved my goal, which was to make him realize the danger awaiting him. I guess so. I took a deep breath, then called the house of the village chief.
はい、君吉です。
園崎です。どうです？村長さんは見つかりましたか？
ああ、ミオンちゃんか。片っ端から電話をかけてみたけど、ダメだよ。見つからないんだ。参ったな。どこで油売ってるのかな。
こっちでも心当たりにいろいろと問い合わせましたけど、全然。バッチャにも相談したんですが、青年団を招集して探し回った方がいいだろうということです。
んな時間にかい？それに別に行方不明になったと決まったわけでもないし。
綿流しの直後ですから、少し慎重に扱った方がいいとのことです。それでも見つからないなら、明朝を警察に通報しましょう。見つかる見つからないは別にして、痛くない腹を探られない方がいいでしょうから。
お嬢さんがそう言ったのかい？
はい。直接声を聞かないと信用できないなら、電話先に出させますよ。
いえ、わかりました。
Imagine if she did have to get audio on the phone. Like, you'd have to pretend to be audio at the point. Yes, it's audio.
青年団を集めて探しましょう。
Or I should make her sound more threatening and all that, like a spooky old bat. This is audio.
それで見つからなければ、翌朝に警察に通報します。
Yes.
青年団の連絡もよろしくお願いしますね。私もバッチャの代行ということでそちらに参ります。
ありがとう。すぐにみんなを集めます。
ええ。では。
The youth group had gathered at the Higurashi Shrine. They were going to try to find the mayor. I also had to go, in the absence of the hag. Just to be mean, I stopped by the underground torture room to let the mayor know that I was headed to the Higurashi Shrine to search for him. Incidentally, according to the tab on keychain, this underground torture room was actually called the Underground Storehouse for ritual implements. This was the man who was yelling that whoever trespassed on the ritual storehouse should be killed. Although it was an underground ritual storehouse, he was there now, atoning for what he had done. It was pretty ironic. Maybe I was the only one who felt that though.
君吉のおじいちゃん、お具合はいかがですか？
Clank. Kimiyoshi didn't say a word, but he made a noise with a chain.
今ね、村中でおじいちゃんの姿が見えなくなったって大騒ぎしてますよ。おじいちゃんの家から相談が来たので、青年団を招集して捜索を行うことにしました。これから行ってくるところです。
Was this mean, or what? Kimiyoshi could only make noise with a chain. He couldn't even express any emotion other than anguish.
鎖、少し長くしてあげましょうか？私の質問にちゃんと答えてくれるたびに、そうですね。鎖、あと3個も長くなれば、だいぶ楽になると思うんですけどね。
Kimiyoshi's hands were tied behind his back with a tied wire. He was wearing a leather collar with a chain, which was strapped tightly around his neck too. The collar's chain was on a pulley attached to a ceiling, with a chain pulling him up toward it. Oh god. That chain was very short and pulled very tight. Kimiyoshi had to stand on tiptoes to be able to breathe. He had been like that for almost an hour already. He was already exhausted. If I left him overnight, he'd probably end up hanging himself.
さっきは知らないと言われましたけど、もう一回尋ねます。北条聡君について知っていることを教えてください。ああ、ごめんなさい。喋りたくても喋れません？じゃあ、私とおしゃべりの間だけちょっと緩めましょう。
I turned the pulley just a little to loosen the chain that was pulling on Kimiyoshi's neck. Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground, relieving the pressure on his muscles.
知らないんだよ、シオンちゃん。本当に知らないんだ。
サトシ君が生きてるのか死んでるのか、それすらも？
おじいちゃんは本当に何も知らないんだよ。
ま、Hinamizawaのたたりのシステムはそういう部分で機密性を保持していますからね。おじいちゃんが知らないというのもありえなくはないことです。なら聞き方を変えます。サトシ君がどうなってるのか、君吉家当主の立場でご意見を伺いたいです。 サトシ君は生きてる？死んでる？
Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say. If he said he didn't know, I'd tighten the chain and leave the room. That would be like a death sentence for him. But all I said was that I wanted him to speak as the head of the Kimiyoshi family. I didn't ask him to tell the truth, but he didn't know what to say to avoid souring my mood and to get me to loosen the chains around him. He was obviously trying to figure out how to make me extend the chain.
生きてるんじゃないかって噂を聞いたことがある。
ああ、新幹線で東京にってやつですね。
警察が東京で姿を見たというようなのを聞いた覚えが。
Well, if she had told me that Satoshi-kun had been witnessed getting on a bullet train heading to Tokyo at Nagoya Station. But the police didn't know if that really happened, or what became of Satoshi-kun after that. Therefore, this was simply a random assertion of Kimiyoshi's.
ねえ、君吉家の当主様？呪われた一族、北条家の人間をわざわざ失踪なんていう凝った消し方をしていて、わざわざ生かしておくのにどんな理由があるんです？ないんじゃないですか？それに、その東京で警察が見たという情報ソースを教えてください。私は大石と一時期連絡を密にしていましたが、そんなのは聞いたことないです。おじいちゃん、私の機嫌を取ろうとしていい加減なことを言ったなら、かえって怒っちゃいますよ。
I reached for the pulley controlling the chains around Kimiyoshi, and that act alone sent him panicking as he feared them tightening once more.
ごめんよ。別にシオンちゃんを怒らせようなんてつもりはないんだよ。謝るよ。
私、ご機嫌取りの話なら聞きたくないんで。君吉のおじいちゃんにサトシ君のことを調べる協力をお願いしてるだけなんです。
わかってる。ちゃんと真面目に考えるから。
I took my hand off the pulley. Seeing that, Kimiyoshi began making loud groaning noises to try and show he was thinking hard.
ズバリ、生きていると思いますか？死んでいると思いますか？
生きてると考えるのは難しいんじゃないかと思う。
ですよね。生かしておくことで伴う膨大なリスクを負う意味ないですもんね。私だって同感ですし。
I really didn't mean anything too deep by it, but what I said truly scared Kimiyoshi.
警察は、おば殺しの犯人がサトシ君で、サトコの誕生日プレゼントを買うために貯めてた貯金で逃亡したと、そう考えてました。この辺、どう思います？
でも、その犯人は確か麻薬中毒の危ないやつだと聞いたよ。
あれ、どう思います？私は私がこう言うのも変だけど、サトシ君がおば殺しの犯人だって信じてるんですよ。あいつは例えばばあさんあたりに買収されて仕立て上げられた身代わりじゃないかと思うんですけど。
それはおじいちゃんも思ってたよ。突然ひょっこりと真犯人でしたなんて言われて腑に落ちなかった。
やっぱり身代わり？
多分そうじゃないかと思うよ。
何のためにだと思います？
警察はサトシ君が犯人だと思って捜査を進めてたんだよね。サトシ君を鬼隠しということで失踪させておきたいと思うなら、警察の捜査がいつまでも続くのは面白くなかったんじゃないかな。
What Kimiyoshi just said is very interesting. He is perfectly correct. If the police continued their investigation, it would complicate things for whoever demoned away Satoshi. Therefore, they came up with a decoy in order to bring an end to the investigation. Okay, well, nothing new under the sun when it comes to that kind of thinking.
でも、そんな犯人のでっち上げなんて、そうそう簡単にできることじゃないですよ。
お嬢さん以外にはできないよ。そんなことは。
ばあさんが裏の世界で相当の力を持ってるというのは私も知ってはいますけど、そんなにもあったんですね。
シオンちゃんだっていろいろとダウン戦争の頃から噂は聞いてるだろうし、中には実際に直接聞いたものもあるんじゃないかい？
During the damn protests, I actually saw them issuing orders to my relatives. Like, destroy their heavy machinery. Or, can we set up a checkpoint to blockade their construction vehicles? They set free their comrades from the police by coming up with alibis, destroying or forging evidence. I had seen relatives do those things, as well as the hag calling in counselors to the house to protest. As a child, I was pretty impressed, but when I thought back, he was more than that. She was truly the mastermind who controlled the underside of the world.
シオンちゃんだって建設省の幹部の息子というか建設大臣の孫だな。あれの誘拐事件の話は知ってるだろ
う。Yeah, what about it?
あれってやっぱ誘拐だったんですか？孫が鬼隠しになって高津戸だか矢河内だかの山奥で見つかったって話は知ってたんですけどね。
あれはお嬢さんの指図によるものだよ。ダム工事の中止の約束が取り付けられたんで孫を釈放したっていうのは、おじいちゃんたち旧同盟の幹部ならみんな知ってる。
身近にいすぎて私がよく分かってなかっただけで、やっぱりばあさんとか御三家とか旧同盟って大したもんだったんですね。怖い怖い。
Kimiyoshi finally realized the situation he was in. He was answering my questions. That made me happy, but the more Kimiyoshi told me the truth, the more I realized Satoshi-kun really was dead. And that made me very sad.
サトシ君を鬼隠しにした実行犯は誰だと思います？
わからないよ。それに誰が実際にやったかは問わないのが不分律だったから。
He was right. That was how the system worked. And so, that was a bad question. Yeah. In that case, is Kimiyoshi actually confirming that the system that Shion thought of was correct? Man, you Sonozaki sure are making things more complicated than they already are.
誰がやったにせよ、大したものですよね。だって、人を殺して死体も出てこないなんて、結構簡単なことじゃないんじゃないですか？
Because, okay, if I am to go with the mentality that it was not the Sonozakis, not only are the Sonozaki using like these murders that may have not been in their control like 100%, they're actually thinking that they are the ones responsible, that it's one of the villagers, when in actuality it could be some outside force that has nothing to do with the family and such. But the Sonozakis not only are using these as opportunities to stay in power, but they truly believe that they're the ones who did it because of the system that Shion thought of. Yeah, that surely makes it even more complicated.
誰が殺したかは別にして、例えば死体の処理をお嬢さんが手伝ったという可能性は考えられるよ。今いるここの奥に死体を捨てるための井戸があることは知ってるだろ？
Oh, we know very well.
ああ、確かに。どこかの山中に埋めるくらいなら、ここの井戸に捨てる方が絶対に安全ですもんね。
Whoever disappears becomes a sacrifice to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. And that was the rule of this game. Therefore, the bodies must never be discovered. That's why the bodies had to be dumped somewhere nobody could find them. It's very possible that the well was used for that. Then, Satoshi-kun is at the bottom that well. Well, I guess one option would be for us to go down there and investigate. Granted, if that were the case, he would be all bones, although he might still have his clothes. Like, if we were to confirm that his clothes are down there, that could be a confirmation. Maybe. I grabbed the flashlight and headed to the huge cave with all the cells. As I turned on the lights in the cave, Mion noticed me and gave me a worried look. I ignored her and headed to the cell in the back. I was still very impressed by how the well was hid. It was almost artistic. I shone the flashlight at the bottom of the well. I had no way of knowing how deep the well was. The light of the flashlight wasn't strong enough to reach the bottom. I inhaled, then screamed into the well.
Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun!
Satoshi-kun's name echoed again and again. It was obviously a very deep well. I thought of climbing down using the wedges on the wall, but with the flashlight hanging from my neck, I couldn't light my footing properly. And even if there was enough lighting, I didn't even know if the wedges were sturdy enough. It would be like committing suicide. Satoshi-kun was at the bottom of this well. And that's when I felt it. A warm hand rubbed my head for sure. You know, I get it, Shion, like, it could be very dangerous, you could fall in there, and you may never be able to go back up, but at the same time, we cannot confirm anything if we stay here, like, and you're just gonna have like a random vision of Ghost Satoshi, like Nerio, without confirming if the dead body is actually there. No, you're not just gonna go there. No, okay, I guess not. You finally found me. You know, at this point, might as well just like jump in myself. So long, suckers. Oop. Yeah, never mind. I can anyone jump inside a hole. Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun. I've been looking for you for so long. I'm sorry I couldn't find you while you were still alive. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Shion. There was nothing you could have done before I was killed. But you did everything you could do after I was dead. Satoshi-kun, I want to join you. I'm coming right now. Yes, go! I'm going to jump, so please well, okay, don't jump, just use the ladder correctly. Satoshi-kun smiled bitterly. I was saddened to see him reject me. Shion, I'm happy they found me. But you are alive, Shion. It's so important to be alive. You can't waste it. If you aren't here, I don't want to live. I want to be with you, Satoshi-kun. I want to be close to you. I want you to rub my head again. I want to spend time with you. I'll be a good girl. I want to be with you. Live. Do I have to? Live and enjoy your life, okay? What's so fun about living alone? You'll find out, so long as you're alive.
生きる。生きるよ。生きる。
The eerie well now felt warm. I wasn't allowed to go down to the bottom, but the edge of this well was the place where you and I could meet. Well, you know what?
Mion.
Even if we're not to go there, I am at least thankful that she didn't actually jump, because she was gonna kill herself there to reunite with Satoshi. But I wouldn't do that if I were you. No.
サトシ君、見つけた。井戸の底なんだね。そうだと思う。そこしかないもん。
God damn it. Mion started to sob.
ミオンはサトシ君が殺されるところには居合わせなかったんだよね。うん。もし居合わせたらサトシ君を許してもらえるようばあさんに意見してくれたかな。絶対にする。せめて命だけはって絶対に言うよ。
God damn it, Mion. Now you're talking as if you are truly thinking that Oreo had something to do with it, even though I was taking to heart what you said about the Sonozakis having nothing to do with this.
嘘だ。え？
嘘だ! On that day, a year ago, I just recalled how cruel Mion was then, when she forced me to rip out my nails, acting in her role as a successor. Even if she was there when Satoshi-kun was killed, she wouldn't have stopped being the successor. Satoshi-kun was brought to the torture room. When he saw Mion, I'm sure he thought she would save him, even as he heard the family head read out his death sentence. I'm sure he looked at Mion and believed that she would have saved him, that she would save him. He believed Mion was acting that way only because she was with her relatives. He believed she would help him, but she didn't do anything. He was strapped to a restraining device, yet she still wouldn't do anything. Mion was cruel. Mion, isn't it about time to help me? I see. I get it. You are with the rest of the family members, so you can't show even a hint of compassion. That sucks.
なんで助けないの。サトシ君の助けを懇願する眼差しを見てどうして心を動かされなかったの。あんたはサトシ君が意地悪オーバーのせいで追い詰められていた時から何も救いを差し伸べなかった。あんたは同情する素振りを見せるだけで助けなかった。見殺した。あんたがサトシ君を助けなかったから追い詰められたんだ。私は救おうと頑張ったよ。彼の心の支えになろうと頑張った。あんたらがサトシ君のおば殺しをかばわなくても私は彼のアリバイのために自らを投げ打って戦った。その結果が爪3枚なんて安いもんでしょ。でもね、それだけの努力じゃサトシ君を救うには全然足りなかった。届かなかった。どうしてか。だって私はシオンだったんだもん。シオンはHinamizawaから遠ざけられていて、何からも戸ざまで何も教えられなくて知れなくて。でもあんたは違う。あんたはミオンだった。あんたはHinamizawaのうちにいて、すべての中心で全てを教えられて全てを知ることができた。私があんただったらきっとサトシ君を救えた。私なら救ってあげられた。あんたがミオンになったからだ。返してミオン。もともとミオンはあんただけのもんじゃない。私のものでもあったはず。それにもともとミオンは私のじゃない。私があんたに貸してあげるようになっただけで本当は私のだったじゃない。返せ。私のミオンを返せ。お前がミオンの外見をしているだけでも物質が走る。お前じゃなく私がミオンだったら
I kicked the bars. I kicked them again and again. Mion curled up fearfully in the back of the cell, as if she were trying to prevent the bars from crashing down onto her. Alright. After that, I joined the youth group in the search for Kimiyoshi. I went down the town council's phone directory and called to see if he had visited. And I had the group split according to the circular notice divisions and sent them to search the town. Everybody seemed to be assuming they wouldn't find him, but since I knew they definitely never would, it was just bothersome to me. Even after midnight, they were all still enthusiastically looking for him. I bore this sleepiness while yawning. And then I heard somebody whisper. Last year, we did the same thing when Satoshi Hojo-kun went missing. The youth group was looking for someone who would never be found, just like last year. I was yawning because I knew this. Last year, there must also have been some people who were yawning and grinning on the inside.
去年の捜索って何時に終わりましたっけ？
あ？北条んとこのサトシん時かい？ありゃ何時だったっけ？
午前の0時過ぎくらいには解散したような気がするな。
It was already 2 in the morning. Although they spent this much time searching for Kimiyoshi, they didn't do the same as Satoshi-kun went missing. After all, some people knew they wouldn't find him. They must have been sleepy. They must have said they should leave it to the police. Shit. I want to kill the people who said that.